Hey everyone, Techni here. Do you all remember my recent review of the Razer Blackwidow TE gaming keyboard right here? I absolutely love this keyboard and it stayed on my desk for a very long time. That is how much I loved it. And honestly, the only reason it came off my desk is because I recently upgraded to the Razer Blackwidow Elite. And let me tell you what, straight out of the box right here with the Blackwidow Elite, wow, this thing is incredibly lofty. I mean, it has some serious weight to it. Now underneath your keycaps, you do have this metal base right there, but the rest of the keyboard is plastic. But again, it is incredibly lofty and you get absolutely no flex whatsoever. You can't bend the board. Again, no flex whatsoever. So straight out the box, wow, it feels incredibly solid. You also get that fantastic Razer wrist rest right here. Plenty of rubber feet on the bottom of this as well. Doesn't budge on you. If you ever used a Razer wrist rest, you know hands down they are some of the best out there. If you've never used them, you're missing out. But again, they are fantastic. This one magnetizes right to the keyboard right there. Doesn't budge. And again, it's just like this pillow. I mean, incredibly amazing. So if you're sitting there working or whatever, wow, this wrist rest complements this keyboard fantastic. All right, so flowing right into build right here. Again, talking that top part right here is metal. When you flip the keyboard over, it is plastic, but you do have plenty of rubber feet right down there. So again, the board does not budge on you. You have two pop-out feet right here. So if you want that different angle, you have it. Me personally, I never use any of my pop-out feet. And same with this board. I don't use them either because it has a really nice slight ergonomic incline right here. And it feels fantastic without any adjustment. Now flipping the keyboard over again, talking about build here, I'm going to get the one thing I do not like about this keyboard out of the way, and that is a USB cable right here. As you can see, it is very thick and it's a braided cable. So yeah, it does feel very durable. I mean, I've been using the heck out of this keyboard for a while now, and you can see it's still holding its box shape here. Now you can route it left or right or center on the keyboard right here, but the stinker about it, whenever you start routing it to whichever direction, it doesn't really stay in there because again, the braided cable is very slick and everything. So I've been keeping mine straight forward, but it's been chewing up my stinking cable. Is that gonna mess with your cable? No, because again, it's braided. You got that rubber coating, you got all this protection within it, but it just looks ugly and just makes it look cheap. So I wish they would have made the router maybe a little bit bigger, or I don't know, just some sort of different design within the router there, or maybe at least made the cable detachable so we could get a replacement down the road. All right, so now talking about this ridiculous USB cable right here, right, with all this going on over here. Number one, you have a USB for power to the keyboard, then you have a USB pass-through, which we have on the side of the keyboard, and then the audio pass-through right here. So you're gonna need a few open USB ports right here, but again, they kind of complement going up onto your desk right there, which is pretty nice and convenient. Bam, having it right there. But I honestly don't use them. Yeah, I plug it in for the power of the keyboard, but these other two I don't use. I use an amp and a DAC on my desk right there. All my other USBs route into the PC. So for me, it creates a little bit of clutter. So I wish it was just, again, kind of designed a little bit different. Not saying it's bad. Like if you're not using an amp or a DAC like me, hey, this stuff's gonna suit you fantastic, you know what I mean? But again, as for me not using them, it does create a little bit of clutter down there. All right, so one last thing on the build right here, and that is gonna be the keycaps. They are sprayed ABS and they're quite chintzy. I can take them out here, pinch them, and they do flex. Now, of course, when you're typing on the board, no, they're not gonna flex like that, but with them being sprayed right there, yes, they are gonna get incredibly glossy and your legend will fade way on down the road. So yeah, I do not like the keycaps on it, but luckily Razer just released their double shot PBT keycaps. I did a review on these and actually installed them on other boards as well, so make sure you go check that out, and I'll leave the link for these right down below. Now these come in white, green, pink, and then black. Now we have the white version here, which I think is going to be incredibly awesome. Again, black board, white keycaps, and then some red LEDs in the background. Wow, that's going to look incredibly nice. And yes, we will install the double shot PBT keycaps on this board as well. Down when we get into the sound test and looking at the RGB, because I want to let you really look at the RGB and the sound test with stock keycaps, and then also the same with the replacement keycaps, just so you can kind of compare both variations there. And again, with it being full size, so you kind of think of it being like really clunky and just ugly on your desk. Let me tell you what, this keyboard with the features packed into it and the awesome design, it looks very minimalistic. You know, if you look at it like this, it's not like this crazy RGB or anything like that. It's just very crisp, very subtle, and I absolutely love it. Like the RGB, it doesn't look like you're going to the disco. Yeah, you got plenty of effects. You can jump into Synapse, really adjust some macros and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But it's nothing crazy. It looks incredibly crisp as being a gamer keyboard, it still looks very professional. And also on top of the design and the aesthetics of the keyboard, the features on this keyboard are awesome. As you see over here, you have these fantastic media controls. The volume wheel is metal and you have nice little grips and steps within it, so it feels very, very nice. Now every single key, as far as the volume wheel or any of the other play, skip, or pause buttons, they're very, very wobbly. So as great as they are and everything, I don't want to say they feel cheap, maybe just a little chintzy. I wish they were in there a little bit more solid. But again, they're incredibly awesome. Speaking of on Synapse again right here, you can jump into that and again adjust all of those to whatever else you desire as well, along with all your other keys. So as far as the customization and aesthetics and features within this board, wow, there's so much you can do with this guy. All right, so now I want to talk about actually using the keyboard and gaming with it right here. And that's going to bring us right into the switches. I am using the Razer yellow switches right here, and they are hands down some of my favorite switches. Definitely top 3 for me. One of my other previous favorites are Cherry MX Reds, and that's what these feel like to me. People have stated these are more similar to Cherry Silvers. I've never used silver, so I can't really speak on that. But again, compared to my Reds, that's exactly what they feel like. 45 grams of actuation force right here. But these guys have a 1.2 millimeter actuation point. So yes, they are very, very quick. I don't really notice an advantage in game. I mean, again, they are very fast and you can move a little bit quicker and you do, again, it's just an absolute pinch, but nothing really like game changing. But it's really nice as far as that force and that actuation point and everything. It's just a great combo and they feel fantastic and they're great to game on. But now I want to bring in one little comparison here real quick, talking about the Elite compared to the TE here. As you can see, the Elite kind of has like this kale box type switch right there, which keeps your keycaps very nice and stable. When going down here to the TE, you just have that basic MX stem style. And also talking about it as far as they feel the exact same, but talking about the build, as you can see, these guys go down into the frame and the Elite has that floating key design. You do get a little bit of a different sound. Talking about with the Elite, you can see it's kind of a little bit louder. Let me go and swap the same switch over here onto the TE. Right, so you have a little bit more low end into that press and a little more high end over here. They both sound fantastic. If I had to pick the sound of one which I prefer the most, would be the TE right down here. Not saying this one doesn't sound bad, but I just like that kind of really low end sound in my keyboards. All right, so speaking about sound, let's go on and get a sound test on the board as is right now. Then we'll go and install our double shot PBT keycaps, and we'll also do a sound test on that just so we can hear the difference. And I'll be right back with you. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about sound. Number one, with the stock keycaps right there, it didn't sound bad by any means. No pings or tings or anything like that. Really nice, solid sound. But going on and plopping on these double shot PBT keycaps really brought out a lot more low end, and it just sounded much more solid. Again, using a much thicker, more solid keycap here compared to those. As far as RGB, again, I think they look pretty much the exact same. Still really nice and subtle. Of course, the white going against with the colored RGB looks incredibly amazing, but as far as clarity and brightness, yeah, they still look the same. But I think the sound does sound a lot better with the PBT here. Again, kind of takes away from some of that kind of, again, a little more high-end sound. Not pingy or tingy again, but just plasticky sound, you know what I mean? Not saying they sounded bad, but again, you get that really kind of lightweight plastic sound. Coming over to these again, they just sound just very solid and very crisp. Now, one thing I want to talk about as I was taking the keycaps off and kind of replacing them there, two things I noticed. Number one, the stabilizers on this guy are lubed right there, and they are quite stable. The spacebar has a little bit of bounce right there, nothing drastic by any means, fairly nice and stable. But as far as the LED, it's also different compared to the TE right here. This kind of has like that basic Cherry MX style again, where you have the LED right on the top right there, and then that clear housing around it just to kind of let the LED kind of radiate out. Now on these switches, as you see, you have the plastic dome over the top, the LED is down underneath that, and then it comes radiating out throughout that plastic with that curvature. As far as the brightness and the LEDs on either of these keyboards, they both look the exact same. This one's just again designed a little bit different. So yes, I 100% recommend this keyboard, and again, it's staying on my desk. But hey, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this one. I hope I was able to help you out, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for some future tech videos. Hey, I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.